Hey guys, today I will be talking about one of my favorite countries in the world, New Zealand,
New Zealand.
and today I'm gonna go into like why I love New Zealand and I have an incredible relationship. It started when I was 11 back in 2006, but I've wanted to move there ever since.
What happened in 2006 when you were 11?
There was a volunteer in my art class who used to live in New Zealand, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
What? So what was it about that person that kind of opened up your world to New Zealand, and how did
It
you?
was actually the movie Whale Rider that came out in 2002.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And then
Yeah.
that was kind of what sparked your interest in New Zealand.
It was not just the interest, but particularly in the Maori culture.
The Maori culture, yeah.
Like, question for you.
All right.
What is it? What is it about New Zealand what is it that you from watching all the opening videos
Yep.
of all the videos that I've shown you, what video, what part of the tradition amazes you the most?
Now you talking about the welcoming ceremony?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the welcoming ceremony, because it is a sight to behold.
It is. So correct me if I'm wrong as I try to give a little bit of a brief description of what this is. So as visitors are coming into a traditional Maori village, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
They have to meet the head guy, the chief, right?
Yeah.
And in order to do that, they need to show that they are coming in peace, and then in turn the Maori warriors will also reveal that they are coming in peace as well.
Yeah.
So what they do is, some of the videos that you've showed me, is that they select like heads of the tribe basically who go and stand in a line to be presented as like, we are the head of these tribes and we are coming into your village, right?
Yeah.
So then the Maori
there are like 4 warriors, like, hold on, I gotta look. There are like 4, what is it, 4 warriors, like,
of what?
4, there's like this one warrior that comes in.
Yeah.
And like, starts. The key thing is discipline, and don't let it out of it.
Yes.
Which puts you.
Because it can be intimidating, right? So like the Maori warriors, they come in, right? They come in on a boat. They get off the boat.
They are coming in.
And they come in like chanting, right?
They come in like hot. They are coming in hot.
They are coming in hot. They come in real hot, and they come in and they start by doing like their ceremonial moves and their ceremonial dance. They have weapons, and they get like right in your face, and they make sure to tell you, like, out of respect, like, don't smile, don't laugh, don't break, right? Like,
Which is absolutely not. Which is absolutely the hardest part.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because they're yelling, they're screaming, they're flashing their weapons in your face. So to not like react to that must be so hard, right? But then what ends up happening is one of the warriors will drop a fern, right?
Let's see, guys. It's not.
Yep, thank you.
Correct.
Yep, thank you. And that will symbolize that they are coming in peace, and that they mean no war, no aggression. They're coming in peace. So then what happens is the person who is leading the tribe that is entering will have to go and pick up the fern and accept it as a gift. Go back in line, and then once that is done, the chief will come up, the head guy in the Maori village.
And then the women will guide you, like, what's about to happen.
Yes. The guides there will tell you kind of how it's going to run down. And then they will do a ceremonial handshake with the other tribesmen, and then they will welcome you into the village.
And they will literally rub noses at you called the hugging.
Yes, they put they grab the hands, right?
Yeah.
And then they put a hand on the shoulder and they touch noses. And that's their sign of being safe and everything's okay here. Right? So that's kind of the routine of what's happening. It's somewhat similar to the Haka. So some people might be more familiar with the Haka.
Yeah.
That is the ceremonial dance that teams from
every New Zealand sports
team does it.
Besides, I have a rugby background, so when I'm a rugby player, facing the Haka is like the biggest honor. That's to play the All Blacks or the Black Ferns.
Yeah.
Any New Zealand team is like
it's and it's intimidating too. It's meant to intimidate your opponent.
Yeah, it's meant to intimidate, but this is the way I look at it. You've made it as an international player if you face the Haka.
I like that. Yeah, I
don't
agree.
see it as intimidation at all. For me, it's the greatest honor of a kid from the U.S. living on a rugby team.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it would be such a tremendous honor if I was able to go face to face with the Haka. I mean, and it's a really cool experience too. But that's part of the New Zealand tradition that Sean is speaking of. So you had asked me, kind of, what kind of feelings do you feel like it kind of brings up, right?
Yeah.
And my first thing that I think of is like a certain sense of anxiousness, but in a good way, right? So like excitement, anxiousness, but at the same time wanting to be respectful and understanding of somebody's culture. You know what I mean?
I know we are. Yeah.
And what do you feel? What kind of feeling does it bring up for you?
It's sort of like an honor. You just gotta take it. Like, they're gonna be in your face, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, it's only, keep in mind, the intimidation is only for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, it's gonna be, your brain is gonna get, as soon as that first word comes out, the brain is pounded immediately. But then you must realize what you're in there for. You're going face to face.
You're a part of history, which is amazing. So, as we talk about that, and we talked a little bit about the Haka, let's use that as a transition point here. I know that obviously, as you know, on Sean's YouTube channel, Parker's Pit, Future is Now.
No, Sean Parker is
what is it?
Sean Parker is my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. But Parker's Pit is kind of like the episodic part of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you do the Future is Now videos. They obviously revolve a lot of times around young athletes. So sports is a big part of it. So what is it about New Zealand athletics that kind of speaks to you?
Just, I would say the humbleness. And I would say, like, for a little country, they have this fighting spirit about them that lasts their, it's their ancestry that's straight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing that they maintain that tradition for all those years.
Yeah. By the way, I just love, like, but when you watch them play besides the Haka itself, they are absolutely the most dominant world-class rugby country in the world.
Powerhouse. Absolute powerhouse. The All Blacks, which is the name of the New Zealand rugby team, are just so dominant. Like, it's usually them, Australia, England's in the mix, right? France has a really good a good rugby team, but like New Zealand is the powerhouse. And
for male.
Yes, and I mean, have they won? How many? They've won the last couple of World Cups, right?
They've won they won it in 2011.
Yep.
They won it in 2015.
Yep.
And their first World Cup. This is a country that eats food and sleeps rugby.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like the U.S. in baseball and basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's a really good comparison. I would say that the rugby team in New Zealand is similar to USA Olympic basketball.
They're always in the papers.
Yeah. And I know that rugby was kind of your first way to delve into your love for New Zealand sports, but that's grown even beyond rugby, right?
You know what, honestly, it's not just the All Blacks.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of the Black Ferns, which is the women's rugby team. And man,
how do they compete in comparison to the rest of the world?
They are absolutely dominant.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're just as dominant as the men's?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
And these players are part-timers, like school teachers.
Yeah, because they can't make a full career out of it like the men do, right?
But they're starting to make a full career out of it.
That's good. That's awesome. Are there any other New Zealand sports that you have gotten into?
Like netball.
Explain netball.
Netball is like basketball without. Netball is like basketball without contact.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is the sport where
it's sort of for females only.
Yep. And the goal is to get the ball to a player under the basket.
Yeah.
To which then everything kind of pauses, right? And you have the opportunity to get it in the net, but there's no contact allowed.
Yes. And another New Zealand sport that I'm into is cricket.
Yes.
We've watched cricket.
Yes, we have been watching cricket for years. New Zealand is another kind of dominant force. I wouldn't say they're probably tops. I mean, you got a lot of...
You got Ross Taylor.
Yeah.
Kane Williamson.
They have a good team. And now, do they participate in the same league as like the teams from India would participate? Like, do they have international games against them?
Yeah, they do. They have a test squad, ODI, 220.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really awesome. Yeah, I think that, and when you started with New Zealand sporting events and your love for New Zealand athletics, that also then naturally transitioned into like New Zealand culture, which we kind of talked about with the Maori warriors and the ceremonies and the Haka, but also into more New Zealand people as well, people from New Zealand. So do you want to speak to some of the people from New Zealand that you have become a fan of?
Yes. Absolutely. One of the YouTubers that I must credit is 19-year-old Emma Stevens. Emma Stevens is a YouTube blogger who I know very well from. We posted we became not friends on Instagram, but we would like send messages to each other, and
that's awesome. And so you started watching Emma's vlogs.
Yeah.
And then following her on Instagram, and you became a real fan because she does a really great job at displaying the New Zealand culture, right? Like
She's a university student at the University of Waikato in Hamilton.
yep, yep. She shows the kind of the world involved in university around New Zealand, and it's really cool. I've watched a couple of the vlogs with you, and she does a really good job
And
of
I've
explaining
gotten to
that.
know her friend Rachel. You know who Rachel is, right?
That's one of her friends on the vlog, right?
Yeah.
One of her, yeah.
Rachel Morgan.
That's awesome.
And Owen, which is her boyfriend, and let me tell you, I gotta admit, without Emma, I would be, without New Zealand, my dad, who was in the hospital, like, going through, I was going through the worst period of my life, actually. And, that is when I found New Zealand. I found it at the right time, so, I've got to use that to my advantage, and, I found it at the right time.
Yeah, so you were going through a pretty rough time emotionally, because there was a lot going on in your life, and you had found New Zealand and these ceremonies and these sporting events and these vloggers, and they were really able to kind of help you through that difficult time.
Yeah, and, I started learning the, Maori language as well,
Yeah.
so can we talk about that? Like, languages, particularly in the Indigenous, you just talk about the impact of myself and the Indigenous culture at the moment?
I didn't know that you were learning the Maori language and stuff like that. So I would love for you to tell me a little bit about that, because I had no idea.
I'm learning the Maori language at the moment, and it's going pretty well.
Wow.
I literally learned it from the moment my dad got in the hospital, and I was absolutely hooked on it ever since.
Nice. That's really cool. How did you learn it? Did you like kind of learn it through videos? How did you pick it up?
I learned it through music, actually.
Oh, okay.
I learned languages through music and national anthems and stuff.
The national anthems are a big one for you.
Yeah.
In fact, I would love to one day in a video do the national anthem quiz that we did once. One time we were messing around, Sean and I. We were driving. We had a long drive, and he had this CD with all international national anthems on it, right?
And I got 44 out of the 48.
And I was trying to trick him and be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go in order, because if I go in order, he's a really smart guy. Maybe you memorize the order. So I was switching it up, like going from track 2 to track 9 to track 30 to track 6, right? And when I tell you that he heard the first note of the national anthem and he would name it, and he was right every single track on the CD. So I would love to put that to the test on camera and have the people out there see the skill that you have in that.
I would also like to send the message one day to Emma Stevens on camera, because her videos really helped me, and I thought.
Yeah, they helped you get through a lot of stuff, and they really influenced you to be doing this as well.
Yeah.
We used to put together videos that were more text and picture driven, and watching Emma's videos really helped Sean, say like, I want to switch up the format. I want to be on camera as well. I want to actually use my voice to explain these things. And, here we are.
So if it wasn't for the 19-year-old that Auckland by way of Hamilton, I wouldn't do like what I am now.
Yeah.
So a big shout out to Emma, Rachel, Morgan. You guys are awesome, and I wanted to say a big shout to you guys for influencing my YouTube potential.
I love it. And much more to come as well. As we continue going on, we're going to keep up with the Future Is Now episodes. I'd like to throw in some fun episodes like the National Anthem quiz. And I think that, and Sean's main goal, and I want to make this clear for anyone out there who's listening, especially Sean's friends, Sean wants to get into interviewing.
I want to get Emma, I want to get to know you personally. I want to get to interview you.
Yeah, so that's the goal, is to hopefully be able to interview young athletes, young influencers, all these people who are making a difference as we go on, making, really showing that the future is now, and kind of getting into their brain, picking their brain, seeing their process, seeing their influences themselves, and really putting that out to the world. That's the goal.
But it's not just me showing all my skills. I want YouTubers to take a look at me, to say, oh, I knew that. I want Emma to say, oh, I knew this kid got.
Maybe. One day, right? That's the goal. And we're here to put in the work. Weekly uploads, right?
Yeah, weekly uploads. Weekly uploads, man.
Yeah, there it is. All right, well, ready to wrap this one up?
All right, we got to wrap it up. When's the next video next week?
Yeah, next video will be next week. This one will go up very soon. And then after that, we will be recording our next one. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Might be a Future Is Now. Might be another informational video like today. Might dig... This one was kind of a mishmash of a bunch of stuff where we kind of talked about the Future Is Now with Emma, but we also talked about your influence and your life story. So there's also stuff like that that's coming up. Sean's journey, Sean's life story. We'll put that out in pieces. So there's a lot of good content that's going to be coming, and it's going to be informational, but also personal, and hopefully one day will be a great opportunity to interview some amazing people as well.
It would be huge. Like a Q&A.
Yeah. If anyone's got questions out there, for sure. In fact, if we do the story, kind of your journey, right? I think it'd be really cool if people had questions to follow up on that, and then we could do a Q&A to that story. So be on the lookout for that. We'll let you know. All right, my dude, sign us off.
Stay positive, stay cool, stay brilliant.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.
All right.